Hi guys, welcome back to SSA Athletics. And if you like what we do, smash subscribe, check out the Facebook pages, both the training page and our normal page if you want tips or want to know more about the club. Alternatively, you can visit our website. And today we're going to be talking about Paralympics, or at least Paralympic athletics. And we'll detail the challenges from a coaching perspective, from training Paralympic athletes to able-bodied athletes. To first understand how watching Paralympic sport can help improve performances of not only disabled people but also able-bodied and help inspire people, let's take a brief deep dive into the history of the Paralympics. Paralympics, or what was originally inspired the Paralympics, originally started off as the Stoke Mandeville Games. The ethos of the Stoke Mandeville Hospital was that they took a more European approach in that, or more European view, in that in order to help improve mind, help improve body, help improve the physical health and fitness of an individual and their mental capacity and ability, you have to give them some form of physical stress, some kind of physical exercise which enables them to have a challenge of sorts. So that could be hypothetically being able to throw javelin. And the Stoke Mandeville Games helped this by giving the paraplegic athletes something that they could strive to achieve and something that keeps their mind in focus. Gives them, if you like, a goal, a target, something they can train for.
What are games like these to paraplegics?
Very important, see, from both the physical and psychological point of view, but the most important is from the point of the social reintegration of the paralyzed into society.
Of course, not only stating the physical benefits, their motor ability, and basically preventing them from wasting away and developing muscle fibre tissue, all those good things. Now, in the Rome Olympics was the first time we saw Paralympic sport, as the name suggests, parallel towards the Olympics. The games that's parallel to the Olympic Games. And what was shown was a wider range of disabilities, not just those who were paraplegic. Now, in the 21st century, you can get wall-to-wall coverage of the Paralympic Games. And there is also a greater interest towards the Paralympic Games that wasn't necessarily there in the beginning. And this is vital for helping young athletes, or potentially helping people who don't necessarily make it as an athlete. Okay, Adam, that's great, but how watching this inspired you? That doesn't really explain anything. Well, for a young person watching these guys do extraordinary things, it can help inspire them when they see people like themselves doing these extraordinary things, that maybe I could do that. Maybe I could run that time. Maybe I could throw a club that far, or jump really far or high. And it shows people who are tackling their disability and besting them. And it shows people that you can potentially do normal things and live a normal life just like everyone else, although being an elite athlete is far from normal. As the song goes. But we've also got to be mindful that these people, when they come to training, have got things that inhibit them, and they will never fully be the same as the rest of the athletes they're probably training with, if they are training in an able-bodied group. What is little known, but I used to work for Cardiff City Football Club, or volunteered for Cardiff City Football Club. And we worked on the disabled footballers, the young academies, well, not really academy, but they were disabled in terms of what we primarily worked on was those with hearing loss and the blind footballers, depending on which days. And although these guys were relatively good, they could kick a ball, they could probably better than some of the academy players. They had cochlear operations or they had hearing aids. So what we would have to do, yes, they could speak and hear perfectly fine, and none of them, well, except from one, could speak sign language. But we would still have to adapt the way we coached them. So we would have to be louder in a voice. We was almost shouting at times. And the heavy utilisation of hand gestures to explain what we mean. Now, we kind of made up our own little sign language. So if you were talking about sign, you do that. If you're talking about ball, we'll go ball. Goal, shoot, on goal, or shoot, on goal. Pass, shoot in the corner, or shoot on goal. These are things we kind of made up because I wasn't really inside the dictionary, just to help explain what we were talking about. And adaptations could be as minor as that. They could be something pretty major into how you do the form, because not every disability is the same. Not every disabled athlete will be the same. And you need the technology or the style of training or your form and how you train them is going to have to adapt to compensate for that. Technological adaptations could be something like simply being able to run or simply being able to utilize a limb just like an able-bodied person. So a blade, for instance, enables that person to walk and run in a natural way, or as natural as possibly can be. Others will try and help those athletes to be able to just simply move themselves or be able to operate in a certain way. So great, we've learned how we can train people, we've learned how it inspires them, they can watch it and motivates them to train, but in reality, not everyone's going to be an elite Paralympian. Just like an able-bodied, not everyone's going to be an elite Olympian. Maybe they don't have the skills, maybe their disability is not represented in elite sport, maybe there's just nothing out there for them to do, or maybe because their disability has a greater range, it's just not necessarily recognised as a disability under the classification system. The Paralympics can potentially do is inspire people to live the life they want to live, and teaches them some kind of normality in their life.